Hello everyone, this is Greg Wartko, Editor-in-Chief of Yard & Garden and GreenIndustryPros.com. Thank you for joining us for our four-part series of web briefings featuring Bob Clements, the green industry's most highly regarded business trainer of high-performance dealerships. Our exclusive sponsor for the series is Ideal Computer Systems. Ideal's business management software provides you with the most comprehensive, industry-specific solution on the market. Ideal invests its research and development based on dealer feedback to help you gain full control of your inventory, service department, customer service, pricing, purchasing, bookkeeping, and overall business management. To learn how Ideal can provide you with a complete solution that meets your specific needs, call 1-800-737-1620 or visit www.idealkit.com/YG. And here we go with part 2 of the series, Sales Negotiation. Hey, welcome back, Bob. We got a great topic today, selling and negotiation. What do you think?
It's one of my favorites. You know, when I work with dealers, I started my company out 26 years ago as a sales training company, so I have a real passion for selling and the importance of it in a dealership.
You bet. And I know when I started on Yard & Garden back in the late 90s, what I heard most often from readers was their frustration dealing with mass merchants. That was their big competitor. Slowly but surely over the last few years, I'm hearing more and more dealers saying their biggest frustration is other dealers who are giving up margins and kind of ruin it for everybody in the industry. What do you think about that and that whole concept of selling and margins and everything else?
Well, I agree, and I tell you, I never saw the mass merchandiser as a big threat to a dealership. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously they sold a lot of equipment stuff out there, but in my shops we take it in and we service it. We don't care. Uh-huh. So I just want the equipment to be out there so it breaks down and we can fix it.
Sure.
But from a selling standpoint, most of the mass merchandisers during season, they're holding their margins about where the dealers are. So the mass merchant typically is not the biggest enemy of the dealer. It's other dealerships that don't know how to sell, and so their whole mindset is well, I just want to get the equipment out there, and if I make $100, I make $100, and of course then they kill the whole marketplace. And a little bit of that's the vendors' problems, the manufacturers' problems, because they're so intent on growing market share, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they put dealer on top of dealer on top of dealer anymore. And I see it especially in the handheld equipment and things like that, so it makes it a lot more difficult for the dealer to do it.
You bet.
But I still tell dealers, that people buy people, they don't buy products and services. About 25% of the people out there buy a brand, and about 75% of the people out there buy the dealership. Mm-hmm. And so, so they're walking into your dealership for a reason, and so we should be able to make good margins on them if they walk into our dealership.
Great. And you have any tips about when that customer comes in and you begin the whole negotiation process? Any tips for dealers there to kind of stand his ground and sell his value and all those good things?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing I tell all of the salespeople that I train is that selling is a process and negotiation is not separate from it. It is a part of it. And so every time you go and you're working with somebody who is going to buy something from you, today you have to assume that person is going to want to negotiate on something. Mm-hmm. So you start off knowing at the end you are going to need to negotiate. And so, Greg, what you've got to do is make sure you set yourself up for that in the beginning. So you're not just in the beginning talking about the equipment, you're talking about other value-added things as a dealership you can bring into that equipment sale. The other piece is to be a better negotiator, you got to be a better qualifier. Too many times salespeople, they don't qualify the customer and find out what the customer's pain points are.
Okay.
So I tell all my salespeople, when somebody walks into the door, the first thing, you want to say, guys, what do you have now? What do you like most about it? If you could change or improve or take what you've got now and make it better, what would it be? That's probably the most important question to ask. If you could change or improve what you got now, what would you want it to be? Now I know what their pain is. And so when they do want to negotiate with me, I can always go back and bring up that pain point, and I can use that as a leverage piece.
Very good. I got a scenario here I'm going to throw at you. I hear it from dealers all the time. They say a customer comes into their dealership and they're looking at a mower and they're going to buy that mower. It's just a question who they're going to buy it from. And dealers are often met with the statement, well, so-and-so down the street, I could get it for $300 less. Any advice for dealers on how they manage that situation when that conversation's taking place on their showroom floor?
Sure, and I go back again. If they didn't already buy it from that dealer, then number one, Greg, they don't want to buy from that dealer anyway.
Great,
because had they wanted to do that, they would have already just went back and bought.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you have to do is understand that they really want to buy from you. There's $300. So let's say it's a $5,000 mower, Greg. Well, we know that they've already bought $4,700 of my mower. All I have to do is sell them on the value of the other $300.
Okay.
Right. So the bulk of all the mowers already sold. It's just $300 that stands between us and them. Mm-hmm. Now, the first thing I tell all of my salespeople to do is ask the question, and I would say, hey, Greg, I understand that we're at $300 apart here. But let me ask you a question. Assuming I can make that $300 disappear, and I'm not saying I can, but assuming I can make that $300 disappear so it doesn't exist there anymore between you or I, are you telling me you're in a position today, right now, Greg, to go ahead and make a decision on this piece of equipment? Is that what you're telling me?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in most cases, the person will go, well, no, I'm not saying I'm going to buy it today. Well, then the $300 is not the problem, because I just told them if I can make that go away, then you're in a position today to buy this piece of equipment.
Uh-huh.
And if they say, no, I'm not going to say I'm going to buy it today, then you have to stop and say, so what you're telling me is you're really not sold on who you should buy it from.
Okay.
And so let me share with you why you should buy from my dealership. And I tell people, and it all starts back with my service department. Walk with me back to my service department, because this piece of equipment is going to break down regardless who you buy it from. And the most important thing to you is how is it going to be serviced and how are you going to be taken care of. Mm-hmm. And then I walk them. I walk them through my parts department and show them the parts I've got in stock, and I do the things like that. I'm selling the value of my dealership. Now, they may come back and say, well, that's all good and great, but we're still $300 apart. And I say, I understand that. So let's figure out how we're going to get rid of that $300. And this, again, Greg, is where when you start selling, you've got to have some things that you've built the value into. So I took them to my service department. I've talked to them about the services that we give. And so at this point, I can say, you're going to have this mower serviced once a year anyway. For this zero-turn mower, you're looking at $250 to have it serviced. Tell you what I'll do is I'll do our first service on this mower for $125, mm-hmm. right? So you give up $125, I give up $125. So we're only $50 apart here. So meet me in the middle on that. And so now I've got it down to maybe $50. Mm-hmm. And then I can talk to them, about I can throw in this or I can throw in this. And I tell salespeople I never want to give away money. I don't want to give away cash, because cash costs me 100% of its value. Mm-hmm. So if I can give you a discount on service, if I can give you a discount on parts, if I can give you a discount in some other way where maybe my gross profit margin on my parts is 50%, if I give away $100 worth of parts, I really only gave away $50. Mm-hmm. So you're always trying to have something other than cash that you can negotiate with. I've got a program called a Preferred Plus Service Plan that I have a lot of my dealers use, and it's $300 on a piece of riding equipment, and it guarantees the customer 24-hour service on their equipment for the life of that piece of equipment.
Okay.
It's $300. It doesn't cost me anything, because I would try to get it in my shop in 24 hours and fix it anyway. Mm-hmm. But the customer kind of gets bumped up to commercial customer status.
Okay.
And so for $300, they've got that. So I would use that to negotiate with. It costs me absolutely nothing to do it, so I have no cost in it. But I can say, we do have a program called a Preferred Plus Service Plan, and Greg, what that does is it guarantees you for the life of this mower 24-hour service, assuming we've got the parts in stock. Mm-hmm. So why don't we do this? We're $300 off. I'll let you have that program for $100. I'll take and eat the $200. I've more than met you halfway on it. With that in mind, right, let's go ahead and start the paperwork on it and move them on into it. So. Yeah. So it's a matter, again, of setting the customer up in advance on negotiation, and then making sure that you've got some things that you can negotiate with. Yeah. It could be parts packages. It could be service packages. It could be the first pickup and delivery for free, something that doesn't cost you 100% of its value, and then using that as a negotiation tool.
Those are some great tools. You've really given our listeners some fantastic weapons in their sales and negotiation arsenal. Obviously, Bob, we could talk for hours on this topic. Before we wrap it up today, is there anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, no, other than the fact that, again, negotiation means a give and take, and I tell all my salespeople, if the customer asks for $300 and you just give it up, my grandmother could have done that. Mm-hmm. Part of your job as a salesperson is to make sure that we don't give that whole $300 up. And if the customer gets it all, they really walk away feeling I probably could have got more. Yeah. So you want to make a customer fight for anything that you choose to give them in a negotiation.
Excellent tips, and we appreciate you sharing them. Looking forward to having you back in another week or so. We're going to get a little philosophical next time. We're going to talk about the difference between business people and people in business. That's going to be a great topic and an important one.
It will be, and I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, take care, Bob.
Thanks, Greg.